Multi-passionate creative rebels, decision paralysis stops you fulfilling your potential. It stops you earning the money. It stops you creating your purpose and meaning in life. It stops you being who you're supposed to be. And it's all because of the overthinking. You have got lots of different business ideas, you've got lots of different marketing ideas, lots of product ideas, whatever it might be. And what your brain's trying to do is you're trying to get the correct decision because your brain is seeking certainty. That's what it does. That's why your brain's an overthinker. It's looking for certainty in places that there is no certainty. And the reason it's looking for certainty is it's trying to avoid failure, it's trying to avoid pain, it's trying to avoid cringe or embarrassment or a loss of status, okay? But you cannot be successful without experiencing failure. You cannot grow without experiencing pain. You cannot be successful without experiencing some sort of form of cringe or embarrassment. These are the price of entry. If you cannot cope with this, then you're better off going and getting a job or doing something where it doesn't force you to come up with business ideas or creative ideas. The trouble with that is it's going to crush your soul. If you're lucky and you find a job that doesn't crush your soul, please let every other multi-passionate person know, because one of the things that drives us is to be creative, is to be freedom, it's to have autonomy. These are all our core beliefs. These are all our core drivers. And as a result of that, that inevitably leads us to being creative, being entrepreneurial, being artists, being creators, being thinkers, being innovators, being creative visionaries. This is who we are. And the cost of that means surrendering to failure, pain and cringe. We're going to experience them, but we get through it. Okay, it's not the avoidance of these, it's accepting them as obstacles and overcoming them. And that is the most important thing you can do to make your money, to fulfill your potential, to live a life full of purpose and meaning, help other people and be your true self, okay? So let's go back. Your brain is obsessed with certainty, but there is no certainty. Your brain is looking for a linear path that goes 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, and that is what you get in like some sort of corporate soul-sucking job or something where you've got no autonomy, no creativity. You just have to follow processes whether you like them or not. But that's what your brain's looking for, but it does not exist in creativity. Okay, it's your brain's expecting this kind of linear line or this like upward line, but really it's like that. And I'm sure you've seen these images on the internet. It's a fairly common graphic or image to describe creativity and being an entrepreneur, etc. Right? So you have to first of all accept failure, pain, cringe, not as a final destination, but as part of the journey. Right? So your brain's looking for certainty. There is no certainty, so it goes into planning scenarios. It will not accept the fact that there's no certainty. It goes, oh, there's one right decision. Let's say you've got 5 different options. In your brain, it thinks one of them is the correct option and the other 4 are failure. It's very black and white, right? Because that's the way our brains think. And that's just not the truth at all. All 5 of them could be successful paths, but they take different, trajectories. There's different obstacles. There's different ways of being able to be successful. But your brain is looking for the certainty. And that's why you bounce from one idea to the next. You see somebody else making money in crypto or whatever, and you go all in there. And then you realize it's a lot harder than you had first anticipated. Maybe it's something to do with AI. So you go in there, and then you realize that's a lot harder than you first anticipated. And you see somebody else making money in coaching or whatever. And this is why we bounce from one idea to the next, because our brain is looking for certainty. And as we see other people being successful, and it looks simple, because it's that classic thing. They've spent 10 years being an overnight success, or 2 years being overnight, whatever the length of period of time it's been. We think that it's easy, and our brain goes, "Oh, there's certainty there," so that's why we bounce from thing to thing. We have to stop that. It's a really, really bad habit that we have, and we have to stop it. So our brain is trying to find planning scenarios to find certainty, and of course there is no certainty. There's just none. That's just life. Then we start spiraling. Okay, we start overthinking, okay, trying to find this correct decision. Now, there's a couple of different things you can do here. Me, if you've seen my previous videos or if you've read my articles, you know I'm a great believer in experiments. So rather than investing my ego into the success or failure of a business idea, I experiment over a period of time. It's usually 30 days. It can be longer, it can be 3 months. It depends on the variables of your idea, how complex it is, and so on and so on. But let's say you're starting a TikTok account, right? You're in your brain, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to make this, I'm going to get to 100,000 or 200,000 or 1 million followers, and then I'm going to be able to monetize it. Your brain is projecting all this wonderful things of success because you're seeing other people doing these things, right? And people are trying to tell you how easy it is. It's not easy, right? So what you would do is you would then go in and say, okay, I'm going to do 30 videos in 30 days. I talk about this all the time, but it's really important because what happens there is you've got a container that's an experiment. Number one, you can tell everyone, oh, I'm experimenting on TikTok for 30 days, right? And that then removes all the pressure for you to be successful because the only thing you have to do is to post 30 videos in 30 days, and that is a success. That is what you're committing to. Thereafter, you can then ascertain how much energy, how much you enjoyed it, whether it looks like it's a viable proposition or not, and so on. Okay, that's number one. Number two is that you have two selves. In sports psychology, you have self one, which is your thinking brain, which is all this stuff here, and this is the one that's looking for certainty, and this is your ego, this is your everything else, and then you have self two, which is essentially your soul, your subconscious, your spirituality, your authenticity, your creativity, your curiosity. That's how you get into flow state. You do not get into flow state by thinking about getting into flow state. When you're in flow state, you're not thinking about certainty. You're not thinking, you are in the process. You are just enjoying the creativity. So you have to stop thinking so much with self one. It's important to do some critical thinking, but it's important not to spend all your time thinking because this is what burns you out. The energy it takes to expend, to do all this overthinking, to trying to find certainty in a place of no certainty, which is completely futile, completely waste of time, is burning you out. It's depleting your energy. The reason, you've probably heard this before, that 95% of your decisions are made by your subconscious. The reason it does this is an evolutionary thing, and it is to preserve your energy. Because if if our brains had to make 100% of the decisions every single day, we just don't have enough energy for that. So we have to get out of self one, stop overthinking, and get into self two. How does it feel? What does your gut feel like? What does your curiosity say to you, right? Start thinking more with here. That's not to completely disregard your thoughts, but it's to understand that your brain is broken, looking for certainty in a thing that has no certainty. That's just creativity, that's entrepreneurial. You have no idea what the path is until you start it. And this is the most important thing. So, hope this helps. Peace out.